No, I can't see it.
Where'd you get this from? Here?
I think I got it from here, yeah. Churchy got it. You're big on your coffee, are you?
Yeah, I'm 7 a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had one already.
If I had 7 coffees, I'd be
like, oh, look at me, I'm always having panic attacks.
Well, Brandon, it's coming into your last final series here at the Melbourne Storm.
Yes.
How are you feeling about it?
Obviously, it didn't really sink in until last week, and yeah, it's definitely hitting home a bit tougher than I thought it was going to. But they basically gave me everything here at the Storm, and my life wouldn't be the way it is now, and I wouldn't be the football player I am without them. So that's why it's going to be very hard to leave this place.
The Brandon Smith who arrived here compared to the Brandon Smith who leaves, how different is he?
Yeah, well, the Brandon Smith before I knew I was going to play NRL for a living was definitely a lot more wilder than what you see now, and it might be hard to fathom that because I'm still a bit off my chops at the moment. But yeah, definitely as a footballer and as a person, I've learned so much from Craig and Frank Panisi, and it's just worlds apart to what it was, which is, yeah, like I said, it's really hard to imagine.
So you're telling us this is toned down Brandon Smith?
This is like 30% of what Brandon Smith used to be, which is very fortunate for everyone, I think.
What would it mean for you to go out on top here at the Melbourne Storm, given everything you've been through?
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate goal, and it's going to be a tough one. Well, realistically, we've got a lot of injuries, and I think we have the team to still do it. We've got the coach that definitely believes in us, and the playing group believes in each other. And yeah, after everything, after the 6 years I've given this club, to give them another premiership, that would be an outstanding feat.
Can you believe how far you've come from a young kid who grew up on a tiny little island off of Auckland to what you've achieved so far?
Yeah, not really. Like, I didn't really think that this was like a realistic option for me, especially after what I've come through. And I was a bad kid when I was younger, and yeah, to think that back then I was actually gonna be an NRL player and play for my country and win a grand final, I would have never ever in my wildest dreams thought that was possible. And I put in a lot of work early when I was young. I started playing when I was 3, rugby league, and I eat, breathed, and shat rugby league for pretty much all my life, up until I was moved to Townsville.
Paint a picture for someone who hasn't been to Waiheke Island. What's it like?
Nah, it's beautiful, like amazing. There's beaches, vineyards, big houses, and that's about it.
But it's small, right? It's a tiny little community.
It's very small, and if you're hitchhiking, if I'm hitchhiking and I put my thumb out, probably the 3rd car that drives past will pick you up and take you to wherever you want, because everyone knows each other. And even if you don't know them, you're bound to know someone that they know. So there's no gangs or silly stuff, you know, that like that. And yeah, it was paradise to grow up on.
But it took a lot to keep playing football at a certain age, right? Because it's such a small island. You can only go so far. So your bus, trains, ferries to play footy.
Yeah, that started very early. I was so I was playing like under 6s. I was playing like under 10s with my older brother and stuff like that, and all my older mates. And when I was 3, I played the under 5s. Like, there was never like a clear team for me to play for the Waiheke Rams, just because there was like limited people on the island. So when I was like 10, I had to learn to go play over in Auckland. So I started playing for the Richmond Bulldogs, and so school finished 2:30. I'd catch the 3 o'clock boat. Then I'd catch the bus to training. That was like a 15-minute bus ride, and then training would be like 4:35. Finish training at like 6:30. And then hopefully I get a ride from my coach or something back to the ferry terminal. And the ferry terminal, if the ferry was at 7:15, if I missed that one, I had to wait at the ferry till 8:45. And then I'd get home at like 9:30, and then I'd catch the bus home because Mum and Dad woke up real early, so I wouldn't want them to come pick me up. And I'd catch the bus from the ferry terminal back home, and then it was like a K&a-half like run up the hill to get home, and then I did that every Tuesday, Thursday for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
For the love of playing footy.
Yeah, I genuinely loved it, and I loved like the whole being able to look after your own, like look after yourself and fend for yourself sort of thing. It got scary though sometimes, waiting an hour and a half at the ferry terminal when I was that young, because you see some characters there sometimes, and it was pretty scary. And then the run home was pretty scary as well. It was just up a dark road with just forest either side. I had the vision that I wanted to play in NRL, and that was the path to get there, so it didn't really matter what happened.
You're a bit of a cold hero here. Do you get recognised a bit? Because it's AFL territory, right?
Yeah, I'd actually do a little bit, but not as much as I would in Sydney, obviously, and Brisbane as well. But yeah, you always hear someone say cheese from out of the blue, especially when you're out.
What have you loved about Melbourne the most here in your time, just being in this city?
I think being able to sort of get around here without being hassled so much is it's been really good. Like, I think we get away with a lot more than most people do. So I think when I go to Sydney, it might be a bit of a rude awakening for me. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being at this club.
You're going to get spotted more in Sydney, and it's a bit more expensive. I've heard that you're a bit of a tight ass. You don't like spending money. When you were in Sydney, going to the Roosters meetings, you were biking because you didn't want to pay for Ubers. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I won't be paying for any coffees. I never pay for coffees. I always get Kenny Bromwich to shout me coffees. But that's what I play cards for. I usually play cards to win money to spend on lunch and coffee. So. And
you drink 7 coffees a day, so
exactly.
you're doing all right.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
All right, well, we're in Melbourne, so we're going to do something really Melbourne. We're going to go have a burger in a train on top of a building. Why not, right?
Yeah, that sounds like Melbourne.
That's Melbourne.
Weird.
Let's go, eh? Careful not to get hit by a car. Why did you start training so young and pushing yourself? And I've heard you talk about your old man behind you in the car, pushing you up the hill. Why?
When I was young, like, my role models were I was the ball boy for the Waiheke Rams, and I was pretty much all my younger days. And I think my role models were my older brother and those players that played for the Waiheke Rams. They were like C division, like great, but I thought they were NRL players. Like, when I was young, I wanted to be better than them, and I wanted to, like, one day be the guy on the TV. And I got pushed by my family quite hard, and I think that's why when I moved to Townsville, I sort of become the lunatic I am now, because I didn't really get those freedoms. I didn't get to go out or drink or do any of that stuff when I was a young fella. I was very strict. I didn't really get to sleep over at people's houses. My parents were cleaners, and when I was real young, when I was like 7, 8, and doing rugby league, like, I'd have to wake up at 4 in the morning and like clean bars and stuff with my parents and my older brother and my older sister, and that was pretty tough. It was pretty hard, like, that young age, and I got my parents fired from one job, actually.
What'd you do?
I was swinging a broom around in the back of the bar, and I hit over like those CO2 tanks, and it like smashed over and just like started exploding through the back of the bar that I was sweeping out. And I swear to my dad I didn't do anything wrong, and then they had like the CCTV footage of me like swinging this broom around, and it hit like this big ass CO2 tank over. So got them fired from a place called Harbour Masters, and there's just lots of things like that. Like, I worked really hard when I was young. Like, before school, we'd deliver the paper, and my dad would just park at the top of a hill and in Rocky Bay, which is a place in Waiheke, and I'd just have to run down with all these like little newspapers and run all the way down and put them in all the mailboxes and then run all the way up the road. And I thought I hated it back then, but now I know he was just trying to, I guess, make me live out my dream.
I imagine you've been a constant source of panic and worry for your parents at times throughout your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I lived in Townsville, I think they'd have a heart attack every week, just because I was a sucker for you know, hanging out with my mates. And sometimes I wouldn't come home to my home stays a lot of the time, and they'd be ringing up my parents trying to find out where I am. But yeah, I think now that I am where I am, I think their worries are sort of gone away.
Because when you got sacked from the Cowboys,
Yeah.
they were on the phone,
Yeah.
mum's crying.
Yeah, that was a tough moment. They were, that was just a few indiscretions in a row, and that was like, they had the board meeting and they had like a big speakerphone in the middle of the thing, and I just remember Michael Luck saying that they had to terminate my contract, and I remember my mum was crying and my dad was crying, and they were pleading for them to thing, and that's when I sort of thought it was all over. And I remember Kevin Marty, who's the welfare officer of the Cowboys, he sort of grabbed me aside after and sort of just told me that this isn't the end, and you're going to make it, you're going to be an NRL player one day, and just all that stuff. And I'm always grateful for that, because it's one of those things that I'll remember for the rest of my life. That was probably one of the, I guess, worst I've ever felt. And just letting my family down like that was pretty sad. But to have a chat like that from someone who believed in me at that young was, yeah, I was very fortunate to have someone like that. So shout out to Kevin Marty.
This has got to be the most Melbourne thing ever, right? Like, we are on top of a building in a train covered in graffiti.
Yeah, I'm still wondering how they got a bloody train on top of a skyscraper. That's pretty interesting stuff.
In your time here, all the boys obviously are tight-knit because you don't have any family and...
Yeah, bro, we're at cafes every day, actually. Like, we're always out at restaurants and probably spending our money not wisely. But, yeah, no, we love our coffee.
Do you drink before a game?
Yeah, I drink coffee on the way to the game, and then I drink like a little double shot espresso at the game. And then a pre-workout and then some other stuff, so...
When you're organising something with the boys, who's running it? What are you doing?
I think we have like a little Richmond group chat, so all the young fellas pretty much all live around Richmond, but I think the main instigator would have to be Cooper Johns. He's always just looking for something to do, and bro, we play cards like 24/7, especially on away trips. Me and Kenny have been partnering up lately. It used to be me and Christian Walsh, and we had a big 500 competition in Noosa when we were there, and unfortunately Harry Grant and Cooper Johns got caught cheating. They had hand signals and words that they'd say that meant something, and Nico Hines found it on a laptop. He was on their laptop and they were sending texts to each other, but the texts were coming up on the laptop. And they got banned.
So there must be a bit of banter in the team. I saw in an interview recently after a game, you said Cameron Munster's as dumb as pig shit, I think it was. But he gets on the field and he's a genius.
Thick as pig shit.
Thick as pig shit, that's it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of banter, especially with Munster. I mean, he's got thick skin, that fella, and he dishes it out and he can take it. So he's one of the ones you wanna make fun of.
When you arrived at the Storm, did you struggle with the discipline of it all and that stuff? Because you talked about a lot of the players might hate Craig for pushing,
yeah,
because of how hard he is. Did you struggle with that at the start, considering you had been a bit looser?
Yeah, for sure. I was still a very rugged person, and but I always showed up to training, especially in that pre-season. I always showed up to training with the mindset that I wanted to be an NRL player, and like, this is pretty much my chance. I'm at the Melbourne Storm. I'm at the best team, you know, the most successful team in the last 20 years. This is my chance, and obviously I had a few indiscretions, but definitely nothing compared to what I used to be. And Craig knew that I showed up with a mindset that I was gonna come and train as hard as I could, and I guess that's why they liked me here, and that's, I guess, why Craig's kept me around for this long.
He's kept you around despite the fact that you push his buttons.
Yeah, but I think Craig's very misunderstood as well. He's a lot funnier than people think he is, and he's a little sweetheart, to be honest. But when you need to be yelled at, he's going to yell at you. But for the rest of the time, he's pretty much making fun of you most of the time. So why not? I'm allowed to make fun of him back.
Can you think of your best Craig pranks over the years? I remember there was one that went viral. There was the rocks in the bag.
Yeah, that was probably the funniest one. 'Cause watched him carry the bag up the hill, and he was like straining his ass off, and I was like, this guy's actually going to hurt himself. He's a bit too old for this. And then he told me he was going to throw all the rocks through my window the whole trip. He's like, you wait, man, I'm going to get these rocks through your window. I was like, oh, got me a bit scared, but I think this might be a bit of a difference between Trent and Craig, according to Victor Bradley. So I might need to tone it in a bit.
What do you think you're going to miss most about Craig as a coach when you move on?
Well, I think I'm going to miss the fact that he was like a best friend to me, and everyone says like a father figure, but I could come in and talk to Craig about anything I wanted, and he'd always have those one-on-one conversations with you about your family and about your life and everything like that. And he's just someone that I think genuinely cares about you as a person more than a football player, but he knows that he gets the best out of you because of that. And I'm definitely gonna miss being able to have a laugh with him and joke around with him, and just gonna miss me best mate Craig.
What about the way he's used you as a player? Because in my eyes, you're a unique player. There's not many Brandon Smiths. Would you agree with that in terms of your size? You're a dummy half, but I've seen you wear the 8, I've seen you wear the 13. Especially when you started, there wasn't anyone like that.
Yeah. No, I think he's used me to my strengths. I think that's what Craig pushes massively. It's just we didn't bring you in here to be someone else. We bring you here to be yourself. So go out there and use your strengths. And yeah, mine's running hard and tackling hard and just going balls out. So the way he's used me as a player, I guess it's been good. I've made the All-Stars team and the New Zealand side on multiple occasions. So however he's used me, it's stood out.
What about the 1-2 punch you've kind of formed with Harry Grant now?
Yeah.
Is that a strategy? Because people talk about Brandon takes a run, quick play the ball, Harry's gone straight away. You guys, is that a plan?
I don't think it's a plan. Yeah. It's just how it happens. Like a dummy half runs after a quick play the ball, and with this body structure, this unfortunate body structure, I get quick play the balls, and Harry takes off. So it's just worked to our advantage, and I think me and Harry are really close mates. So the 1-2 punch is probably a thing because of that. And yeah, I don't know why I get quick play the balls. I don't know how it ends up happening. It just does, and Harry capitalises on them.
The decision to move to the Roosters and to leave the Melbourne Storm, how difficult was that for you to come to?
It was tough because of my mates and Craig, and just being around this club for so long. Like, I feel like this is my identity now. I'm a Melbourne Storm player. They're all my family, and but when I was thinking about the decision, I was weighing up the pros and cons with my mum and my dad, and that, like, money didn't have anything to do with it because they were ultimately the same. I just wanted to get a new scenery, and I wanted to play dummy half. I had played middle forward for 5 years at this club, and I played 1 year at dummy half, and I really enjoyed it. I thought my football was where it was at its best, and being at the Melbourne Storm, there wasn't really a clear path for me to play that position. And when I had the meeting with Trent Robinson, he pretty much said, like, this is the position you'll be playing. Like, you're going to be our #1 dummy half, and I guess that was the selling point. And being able to go to a great club like that as well. So I was very fortunate.
And there was obviously the podcast that obviously landed you in a bit of hot water. And
Yeah.
when you look back on it now, you're like, did you
Yeah.
want to have done things differently?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was just talking. You know, I was just talking my experiences and how I felt, and yeah, that's something I regret, especially coming back to the club. I just wish I didn't do it now. It's all learning curves for me, and I went and saw Craig the first day, you know, of pre-season. I walked straight into his office and I said I was sorry, and he was great about it. Everything I've been through, every, I guess, incident I've been through, he's been great. I think he's just way more supportive than he is angry in those sort of situations, and definitely someone I'm gonna really miss. What do you reckon these mean? Bro, have a look at this Metropolitan Mayhem.
Quad beef patty, American cheddar, bacon, 2 potato cakes, 2 dim sims, pickles, onion, burger sauce.
It's a $42 burger.
Eat it in under 3 minutes and it's on us.
Someone like Nelson, I think he'd take that on, but myself, I'm just gonna stick away from that.
You know what I liked about when our producer asked you when we were setting this up, he said, are you right to go and have a burger? Can you eat a burger? And you go, bro, this physique doesn't just happen. Of course I can eat a burger.
This doesn't just naturally occur. I have to feed the body.
You eat not too bad, and then you drink a little bit, but you always smash yourself on the training beach, right?
Yeah.
No matter what.
Exactly. Work harder, play harder.
The Matty John show have stitched you up recently with a driver. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, bro, he got me beauty. I was panicking out. I started panicking because I was like, bro, who the hell is this guy? I started thinking like, this guy's just some random Joe Blow. He's just picked me up like it's a joke. And yeah, he was an incompetent bastard, that one.
You get along with Matty pretty well, right?
Yeah, good. I stayed with Matty. I stayed with Matty when I was in Sydney last, so I like to think that we've got a pretty good relationship. Except me and Cooper are like best mates, and we've got each other's back, so I think Matty respects me for that.